The best of trucking. What's not to love about a truck driving job? Well, no job is perfect, and trucking is no different. Trucking has its faults. But really, when you look at it, there are an awful lot of pluses about being a truck driver and doing that for a living. In this video, I want to talk about some of the really great things about trucking for a living. And now, it's sponsor time, baby! Consider GP Transco if you want a home and a carrier that you want to stay with. Their first-year drivers earn between $80,000 and $90,000 a year. They've got a 401k, a full benefit package, a W-2 package, and they don't micromanage their drivers. And something else they do is they work with owner-operators, and those owner-operators are making 25% above what an average owner-operator makes. Check them out at gptransco.com. Obviously, one of the best things about driving a truck for a living is the fact that you get to see all sorts of places that you ordinarily wouldn't see, even if you had the time to take your family on a vacation or something like that. And you can stop and take a day off or visit on a layover and go for a little sightseeing cruise, but there's all sorts of places that ordinary people will never get to see that you'll get to see on a regular basis, and I think that's huge. You may get to see some great sights like the Grand Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, the salt flats of Utah, Mount Rushmore, and some beautiful sunrises and sunsets. There's nothing quite like it. There are plenty of good truck driving jobs available, and after a short stint in driving school, and it costs a whole lot less than going to college or university, you can start off with a fairly good paying job. And the industry is so diverse, you can get whatever type of trucking job you want. You can run long haul, you can run short haul, you can run regional, you can do reefer work, you can do flatbed work, you can do box freight work, you can do tanker work. The options are just endless. You can choose what type of work you want to do. There are thousands of different trucking companies to choose from, different pay packages, different freight lanes you can run, and there are so many carriers, there's bound to be one near you, and you'll have a short commute back and forth to work from your terminal, and that's a plus. A truck driving job allows you to live virtually anywhere you want, and you'll be close to a trucking company. If you're one of those people who just love to drive, and I was one of those people, trucking might be the right career for you. I can go all day and enjoy the drive, and along with enjoying the drive is enjoying the equipment that you're driving. That's all part of it. And you can drive some really nice trucks for a living, comfortable, fancy stuff. I know when I was a kid, I used to see these big chromed up rigs heading west going to California, and I looked at that when I was young and I knew right away that's what I wanted to do for a living. You've got to love driving to enjoy a truck driving job, and I know I do. Now, if you're one of those people that finds driving relaxing and enjoyable, then you'll make one hell of a truck driver. The miles go quickly for someone that enjoys driving, especially an over-the-road driver. Closely tied to the love of the drive is the love of the element of freedom that we had as drivers. Now granted, it's not as much freedom as we had 20, 30 years ago, but it's still there, it still exists at some point. But there's still way more freedom than there is working in a factory or working at a desk. Driving on the open road on I-80 in Nebraska heading west on a sunny day, man, there's nothing like that feeling of freedom at a point like that. For those folks who don't like office politics, who do not like to be micromanaged and have a supervisor leaning over their shoulder, or for those people that simply don't like to have a whole lot of contact with others, trucking is the ideal profession for you. To the aspiring truck drivers out there who have not yet taken the plunge, I hope this video has been some help to you in deciding whether or not a truck driving job is for you. To those of you who are currently professional drivers, whether you're just fresh out of CDL school or whether you're an old hand with millions and millions of miles under your belt, I hope this video has helped you remember why it is we drive for a living. The freedom of the open road still calls to us, and the love of the drive is still there. Remember, these things have really not changed from years ago when we got into trucking. And it's still better than a lot of the jobs out there, in spite of a few of the downsides. In a recent poll on our YouTube channel, we asked you what was the #1 reason you became a truck driver. Here are a few of the responses. John says, my dad drove, I followed in his footsteps, and I'm proud to be a truck driver. Ryan commented, I love the solitude and the freedom. I used to work as a mechanic and loved the work, but couldn't stand the people hanging over my shoulder all the time. Dale says, number one reason, Claude Akins, the actor, and the show Moving On. So, what about you? Leave a comment below telling us the number one reason why you became a truck driver. I want to know what attracted you to a truck driving career. Story time now, and a funny story completely unrelated to the video. Many years ago, I hauled for an outfit called Canyon Distributors, and for the most part, we ran from Western Canada back into Toronto and Montreal, pulling hanging meat, which meant that most of us were through Northern Ontario a couple times a month anyway. It was a regular route for us. So one of the senior guys there, real nice guy, a big guy named Jerry, had traveled through there for years and years and years and never hit any of the wildlife through Northern Ontario, which was pretty unusual. It was kind of a record because moose and deer and stuff were all over the place up in there. So one day I came across Jerry, I think it was a fuel stop in Calgary or something, I don't remember where. He was mounting these deer whistles on the front of his truck. And I'd never really seen those before or paid much attention to them, but the idea was that wind would pass through these deer whistles, create a noise that scared the animals off the highway out in front of you. So you could travel through deer infested or moose infested highway and not hit anything. Nothing would run across in front of the truck. So I thought, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. I'll have to find out from Jerry later on how they worked for him. And he went and loaded, and I went and loaded, and I didn't see him for a few months. I didn't know what happened. Turned out, after all these years of running through Northern Ontario, the first time he mounted these deer whistles on the truck, he nailed a moose and nailed it good. I think he might have written off the truck. It was a really nice cab over Freightliner too, but I just thought it ironic. It was kind of strange and kind of funny that after all these years of running through moose infested country and never hitting a thing, the moment he put these whistles on the truck, that's when the moose came out on the road and he nailed it. So, Big Strappers, stay safe. Remember why we drive, and I'll see you on the back haul.